Welcome to another episode of the Bottom of the Stream Movie Show. My name is Adam.
My name is Nick. Welcome aboard.
Welcome. How are you, Nick?
I'm good. Do you know what?
What?
I am good.
Good.
But I feel like, obviously we recorded The Wave before this.
Yep.
So I don't know, we must have been talking for an hour or so, maybe a bit longer.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting ill.
Oh, really?
I feel like I've developed a cold in the last hour.
That's not good.
We'll keep an eye on that.
Do you know what? I had a bit of a cold on Tuesday, so I hope I've not passed it down the line to you.
Oh, no, that would be bad. Not a virtual cold.
We're not even in the same room this week, so you can't even blame me. Oh, well, I'll keep my eye on you throughout this episode.
Okay, deal.
If you need to leave for any reason, I'll do it on my own.
Fine.
I can't.
Same.
I could never do it on my own. I can't do that. How do we start these movie shows normally? Shall I just talk about what movie we're going to do? Shall I do that?
It's what we tend to do.
This is, isn't it? So this week we have watched a film called What Happened to Monday. What Happened to Monday is from 2017. It is a 15. It runs for 2 hours and 3 minutes and is currently rated at 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb and is a Netflix original. It stars a lady called Noomi Rapace. She plays all 7 of the Setman siblings. That's what she's credited as.
She does.
She plays 7 characters in this film. She's like a Eddie Murphy, only good. Noomi Rapace, she's probably most famous for the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movies. She made
yeah, I think so.
She was also in Prometheus.
Yep.
Loads. You'll just know she is. She's awesome. Talking of people who you know who they are, it also stars a lady called Glen Close. She plays a character called Nicolette Kamen. Glen Close probably most famous for Fatal Attraction, would you say?
Yes, I would say that or 101 Dalmatians.
Yes, true. She was also in...
Take your pick.
Yeah,
she's had a good career.
She recently did a Netflix original called Hillbilly Elegy. She's in that as well.
That's right, yeah.
And it also stars a man called Willem Defoe. He plays Terence Setman, the grandfather of the Setman siblings. Most famous for Spider-Man?
Commercially, I would say so.
Agreed.
Platoon, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. If you don't know who Willem Defoe is, you're in trouble. Most recently, he was in a film called The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson that I've still not watched, but is on Netflix, so I need to check that out at some point. Apparently, it's incredible. Between those two people, Glenn Close and Willem Defoe, how many Oscars do you think they've been nominated for?
I think Glenn Close has famously had a lot of nominations, but hasn't won one.
Correct. Between the two of them, they've had 12 nominations.
Okay.
And 0 wins.
Oh. Yeah, it's not a great batting average.
It's not, is it? So
I reckon she's had like 10 and he's had 2.
She's had 8, he's had 4.
Oh, I didn't know he'd had that many.
How has Willem Dafoe had 4 Oscar nominations? It's crazy, isn't it? Do you want to know what for?
Yeah, I do.
I should have probably written that down then, shouldn't I? Bear with. Don't know why I asked, if I'm honest.
You're digging yourself a hole here.
So he was nominated for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role for At Eternity's Gate in 2018.
Oh, recent.
Yep. He was nominated for Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role for The Florida Project in 2017.
Oh, 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Wow. Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Shadow of the Vampire in the year 2000.
I've seen that.
Have you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Best Actor in a Supporting Role for can't say it. For Platoon in 1986.
Okay. Yep, definitely seen that as well.
He's also never won a BAFTA. He's only been nominated for one, though. That was for the Florida Project as well. Do you want to know Glenn Close's while I'm here?
Yeah, do it.
So she was nominated famously last year for Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role for Hillbilly Elegy. Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role for The Wife in 2017. Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role for Albert Nobbs in 2011.
Okay.
Albert Nobbs, I've never heard of that. Best Actress in a Leading Role for Dangerous Liaisons in 1988.
Yep.
Best Actress in a Leading Role for Fatal Attraction in 1987. Best Actress in a Supporting Role for The Natural in 1984. And Best Actress in a Supporting Role for The Big Chill in 1983.
Wow.
So she's done 2 years in a row, 2 years in twice. She did 1983 and 1984 and 1987 and 1988. So, yeah, but never won. She never won a single one.
Still time.
There certainly is. This film was directed by a guy called Tommy Wirkola, or Wirkola. I don't know how you'd pronounce that, but that's what he's called. Ever heard of him?
Not to my knowledge.
Ever seen Dead Snow?
No, but I know of it.
It's the Nazi zombies.
Nazi zombies, isn't it?
Yes, he wrote and directed Dead Snow 1 and 2.
Okay.
And he also directed Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter.
Is that Jeremy Renner?
It is indeed.
The worst Avenger?
You're going to get so much trouble for that. Can't say that. Do you want to know a fact?
I've seen that, yeah.
I've seen all three of those films.
I do want to know a fact, yes.
I've seen all three of those films. That was my fact.
Oh, okay. I was expecting something better. No offense.
Sorry. So I've seen 4 of this guy's films now, and he's only made like 4. Written by 2 people, written by Max Botkin and Kerry Williamson. But again, you won't have heard of much of what they've done, I don't think. Would you like to start?
Excellent.
Where does this film start, Nicholas?
Can I tell you a fact first?
Yes, I love a fact.
The script for this movie was on the 2010 Hollywood Blacklist.
Oh, really? We've done a couple of films off the blacklist, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've mentioned it a couple of times before. That's interesting.
And then 7 years later, it arrived.
It arrived and got made. What was the other one? I can't remember what the other ones we did on the blacklist were, but we have done a couple off the blacklist.
We've done too many films. I can't remember. I can't retain that information.
We have done a lot of films now. That is very true. So, where does this one start, Nick?
Crowds.
Crowds.
People. Horrible people. There's a lot of, environ talk, isn't there?
Yeah. I've put overpopulation montage.
Yeah, climate change. All the farms have stopped working.
Yeah, we're fucking the earth by having too many babies.
Yes.
Too many people. I don't know if some of the facts were true, but was it 1 million more people every 4 minutes? I think that's what it says. Yeah. That's a scary fact. If that's true, that's quite scary.
But don't worry, because in this near future, in this movie, science has come to the aid.
Yes.
And we've gone full on GM crops.
Yes. And that's solved the problem.
The shelves are overflowing.
Yes, the food shortage for overpopulation is no longer a problem. However, it has caused another problem.
It has.
Because eating too many genetically modified crops makes you have multiple babies at the same time.
We're making the very problem we sought to solve worse.
Yes, so people are having too many multiple births now. So because of that, we're now in the universe of this film. The Child Allocation Act is being enforced worldwide, which allows for only 1 child per family. And any siblings that are illegally born following the enforcement of this act are put into cryosleep until the world can cope with their reintroduction to society.
Yeah.
That is your setup for this film. And then it goes straight into the title card. I thought that was a really strong start, to be honest. It gave me all the facts of why this film's happening, and then it told me what's going to happen to the people who are in this film.
I agree. I thought it was bish bash bosh, gave you the setup.
Straight in.
Good use of a montage. Let's kick it off.
So we come out of the title card and we're in a hospital, and Willem Defoe's there, and he's looking over into like a maternity ward, and there's 7 babies lying there.
Yeah, my notes went wrong at this point.
Why?
Because despite knowing that from the thumbnail that Noomi Rapace plays 7 sisters, I wrote Willem Defoe's daughter has twins, and then because I didn't want to cross out twins, I put twins times 3 plus 1 equals 7.
So yeah, that's exactly what's happened. Willem Defoe's daughter has given birth to 7 babies, but unfortunately that has finished her off. She couldn't cope with that and has died during childbirth. So he's now in the predicament of choosing one of these babies to live and putting the others to cryosleep, or illegally raising 7 babies. So obviously he's going to choose to raise illegally 7 babies.
Sure.
And he gives them names.
Yeah.
Because
otherwise the title of this movie doesn't work.
Exactly. The doctor says to him what you're going to name them, and he names them after the days of the week. So Monday, Tuesday, well, we know what the days of the week. I'm not going to list them all. But the first one that was born is called Monday, through to the last one that was born. It's called Sunday. And then the word Sunday appears on the screen.
Sure.
Because this film's also set over 7 chapters, I guess. Then the words 30 years later appear on the screen.
Yeah.
There is a lady. We meet a lady for the first time. She's walking through a overpopulated city, I would say.
Yes, she is, yeah.
There's a strong police presence in this city.
She's kind of trying to get through the slums, isn't she?
Yeah, so she's walking through checkpoints. She's got this bracelet that they keep scanning to allow her through. And she eventually walks upon this crowd, and she sees this young girl being taken away from her family and led into the back of a van. And
yeah, there's like a kerfuffle going on.
There's a sort of riot going on around it. And then she goes home.
Well, she stops off and buys dinner.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, she does buy dinner. And then she
buys a rat.
Yeah, she buys a rat. And then she heads home. She heads up she meets the guy because they appear to live in this apartment block, which has a doorman, but they appear to be the only people that live there.
Yes.
And as far as the doorman knows, she's just one person that lives there. Yeah, so this woman lives there on her own, and this doorman just looks after the building. So it was a strange relationship, I thought. He'd got the easiest job in the world, in theory. So she gets home, she heads up in the lift, she heads up to the flat, where we meet all of her identical siblings, septuplets. Yeah. It turns out that what they're doing is they're all living the same life, but they're taking it in turns to go out on their particular day that they're named after.
Exactly.
So we started on Sunday, and the lady that's just walked in is Sunday. And so Monday would go out the next day. So because of that, they have to relive their life for that day, so everybody knows what's gone on for them for that life. So
yeah, they have their end of day meeting, debrief, I guess.
Yeah, and it turns out they're going for a They used the name Karen because that was their mother's name, and they're going for a promotion at work. So we learn that at this point. And then, by the way, this isn't a confusing film, but us talking about it is going to get quite confusing, I think. I think that the film does a really good job of keeping it all in order for you, so you kind of know what's going on at all times. But I don't think I'm as skillful as to be able to do that. So
we'll have a good go.
What I would say as well, before we get into the spoilers for this film, is please watch it, because I know we always say that watch it before you listen to the show because we do give spoilers away. But this one's worth watching, and if you do want to watch it before you listen to this. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. We don't spend an even amount of time with all 7 of them.
No, that's true.
But equally, you get to know them as the movie progresses, so we don't get... I'm not saying it would be better for it, but there isn't a scene at this point that says, this one's Monday, this one's Tuesday, this one... so trying to describe it may be a bit tricky.
Yeah, because I'm just going to use their names. Because it doesn't, like you say, it doesn't do that, but it is quite easy to pick up which one's which. And
they all look... they're all easily identifiable, considering they're played by the same person.
They've all got different hair or hats or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But even when they're dressed as Karen, I still could tell which one it was by the fact that the others were not her. Do you know what that means? Does that make sense? I never didn't know who was who was who. Yeah, and I think that's quite impressive for me because I'm usually useless at that sort of thing. So.
And I think that speaks volumes of
the filmmaker.
Rapace's performance as
Agreed,
well.
Yeah, the filmmaker,
because she manages to put a little bit of the individuals even into Karen. So
yeah, absolutely. So and then we get a flashback. So we flash back to when they were younger. So they were like 7 or 8 at this point.
Yeah,
and their granddad, who is Willem Defoe, is teaching them how to basically live this collective life as one person.
He's teaching them the rules, the
rules of how they're going to do. If they're going to survive in this world that doesn't allow siblings, this is how they need to live their life. And he builds like a secret hidden room behind a mirror.
There's a panic room.
Yeah, so if anybody ever knocks on the door, the 6 of them can go and hide in this little panic room, and the one whose particular day it is can stay out and be the young girl. I thought it was a quite clever setup, to be honest. And he says to him, at home, you can be yourselves. I want you to be whoever you are. Grow up, be whoever you are, be yourself. But when you're outside, you are Karen Setman, and you are all the same person.
Absolutely.
And it's really impressive how it works. And then he sits them all down at the table and he's like, tomorrow you are starting school. Tomorrow is the first day.
Yeah, first day at school.
You are leaving this house, and tomorrow happens to be Thursday. Thursday is the first one who's ever going to leave this flat. She's going to go out and go to school, and she looks absolutely petrified.
Do you know what? I didn't catch the name of the young actress who plays young Karen.
Yeah, so obviously there's one young child actress who's playing all 7 characters again.
She was really good.
She was really good.
She was... the terrifiedness really came across.
The filmmaking in this is impressive. Do you know this film was filmed in 94 days?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, every single scene in this film must have been refilmed 7 times because obviously they're not all there at the same time. So you have to film each scene and then cut them all together. So to do that in 94 days is so impressive. And then to come out with a half-decent film at the end of it.
There's some long days for Noomi.
Yeah, and for the young girl. Because the young girl's in it quite a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, there is a fair few
flashbacks. Fair few younger scenes as well. But anyway, go back to the story. She looks absolutely terrified that she's going to be the first one. She goes out, she lives her day at school, she comes back that night, and she holds the first end-of-day meeting.
And for conveniently, and to help them out, these ID bracelets that they wear also record footage, so she can actually play back the day.
Yeah, so she can play back what she's seen during that day. Friends that she's met, obviously she needs to introduce them to anything that she's talked about with people. The next day person needs to know this. It's a whole confusing setup. So she holds this meeting, and this is the first one, and then they still do that to this day. And that's when we flick back to them being adults and they're doing this meeting. I've written here, one of them is not happy, not sure which one. It turns out it was Thursday. Because like you said at the beginning, it doesn't do a good job of explaining which one's which to start with. But then once you get to know them...
This is the point where I've put, there's an angry one, a nice one, a fit one, as in a fitness... a fitness fanatic.
Yeah.
A lazy one.
And it does.
And there's a few more.
It doesn't do a good job of explaining which one's which, but it comes really quickly, and you get to pick up who they are, and it's not confusing at all. I didn't think anyway. And then we cut back to them being kids again. So there's a lot of flashing between the adults and the kids at this stage. And whilst whoever's day it is, probably the next day, Friday's at school, one of the young girls escapes and goes outside to go on her skateboard, which is massively against the rules. You are not allowed to do this because they cannot have 2 people outside at the same time because that just destroys the whole concept. So the granddad freaks out when he gets home and there's only 5 of them there because he's like, you can't go out on your own. And then somebody knocks on the door, so he's proper freaking out now, and he gets them all into the panic room.
In the panic room,
The one girl he lets the one girl stay out, which confused me because if it had been somebody bringing the kid home, there'd have been 2 kids. You'd think he'd have chucked them all in the panic room at this point. But when he opens the door, the kid is the one who's knocking on the door. It's Thursday, and she's been in a scrape. She's fallen off her skateboard.
She's mashed herself right up.
She has, and unfortunately, the tip of one of her fingers is horribly dangling off.
Yeah,
it was really quite graphic. So it's the tip of...
Because it was so unexpected.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh.
It was horrible, wasn't it? So it's the tip of the 4th finger on her right hand is just dangling off. So he brings her in, he patches her all up. But this leaves a problem, does it not?
It sure does. You can see where this is going straight away.
There's no way he's putting that girl's finger back on.
No way.
So he's amputated this finger.
He's good with the tech. He's good with the tech, but not necessarily with the doctoring.
So Thursday has lost the tip of her finger. Now, these people all live the same life. He now has to chop off the tip of the finger of all 6 of the other girls.
Yeah.
And they willingly accept that has to happen, and then we see it happen to Monday.
Yeah, again, the acting was very good here, I thought.
It was. She proper screamed when he did it. But that's their warning then of never, ever go outside.
Sure.
When it's not your day. And then 30 years later, they still don't, and they still live by that rule. And then it comes up on the screen, Monday. So that's your Sunday done and dealt with. We're now on Monday. Unfortunately, Monday is not very well. She's throwing up into the toilet because she's eaten a rat. They took a rat home for dinner. But it's her day to go out. So they have a debate about whether she should swap over or not. But she decides she's going to get ready. She goes out. She goes to work. She's got this meeting to decide whether she should have a promotion or not. And we meet... What was this guy's name?
Adrian.
Was it Adrian? Yes.
Yeah.
And
he's like a guard at the checkpoint.
Yes.
And he is very flirty with her.
Yeah. Very flirty. And eventually she gets through to this checkpoint. She gets to work. And she meets the guy who she's up against for a promotion.
Yeah.
I've lost his name as well. Useless.
Jerry.
So we've got all the girls' names in my head, but none of the men's.
And this is a fairly quick scene. And they're in the lift, and he says, "Right, well, today's the day we're going to find out." But he sort of says, "I'm on to you. I know your game." And it's sort of left there, isn't it, with some ominous music in the background. Yeah,
he calls her a frigid bitch.
Yeah,
and she says, "I'm not frigid. I just find you absolutely repulsive." But he says, "But you don't like anyone." And that's when he says, "And I'm on to you. I know you are." And that night, she doesn't come home.
No.
So she misses the end of day briefing. And
the nerd sister,
Friday,
because cannot locate her.
Yeah, they ping her bracelet, and it shows no trace. So they don't know where she is. Now, this is also a problem, because if she's dead, people are going to know that she's dead. So then none of them could ever leave the house. It's an issue. And then I think it's Wednesday says, "What do we do if she's dead?" And I've written, that's a great question, because what do you do if she's dead? I suppose you'd have to find her first. But
they need to find out what's happening one way or the other.
So then it comes up on the screen Tuesday. So we've flicked through Monday, and we've lost Monday, the person. You could say, what happened to Monday?
You could say that.
So Tuesday's now getting ready in the morning. She's getting ready to go out, which again I thought was really risky, because if somebody's killed her and then she just turns up to work.
They didn't have an option, though.
No, they didn't. It was a really horrible situation that they put her in. So she goes downstairs. She's a bit nervous, this one. Tuesday's not as...
Tuesday's kind of... She's low in confidence. She's the sort of shabby one, isn't she? Sort of...
Shy, more retiring.
Yeah.
Not quite as confident
she eats a pot brownie before she goes out.
She does. And
to calm herself.
When she leaves the apartment, she runs into the doorman, who's Eddie. And he says, I didn't see you come home last night. And she's like, I got in after hours. You'd already gone.
Yeah.
But she gets through the checkpoint, no problem. She's got an earpiece that she's wearing, so she's in constant communication with the rest of the team.
Yeah, she gets into work.
Finds out that she got the promotion. They won the promotion.
Yeah, secretary says.
Yeah, from her assistant.
Yeah, and then we're into this brief bit is a bit like The Hangover, because she says to her secretary, "Well, where did I go?" And the secretary says, "Well, you left early to celebrate. You went over to Harry's bar."
Yeah,
and now we're on the chase.
So Tuesday heads over to Harry's bar. She finds out that Jerry was there with her, the guy who she was up against, and that they'd had.
The bar lady says, you had an argument and you headed out.
You had an argument and you left, but you didn't leave together, but you did leave. And then as she's leaving this bar, the policemen are called CAB agents, CAB agents.
Yeah.
It's Child Allocation Bureau, like the FBI, aren't they? 2 agents approach her and ask her to get into the van. So she gets put into this back of this van with these agents, and they turn her bracelet off as well, or turn her bracelet off. And they take her back to Cab HQ, where she meets Nicolette Cayman for the first time.
Adrian, the guy from yesterday, he spots her in the distance.
He does, yeah.
And then we meet Glen Close, who again I'd forgotten was in it, and then I was really surprised when she turned up.
Oh yeah, Glen Close is in this.
Yeah.
The first, this is probably 20 minutes in, 25 minutes in. It's brilliant, I think, so far. I'm all in.
Yeah, good.
At this point, I'm all in. I really want to know what happened to Monday, name of the film, and now I want to know what's about to happen to Tuesday.
And Cayman says she's onto her straight away.
She knows everything.
She says, "I know the 7 of you. I know your grandfather was Terence, and she says, I think he was cruel. All that food and all the resources that you 7 have taken away from other people."
Yeah.
She really goes for it.
She does. She's proper horrible to her, but she's got a point. They are law breakers, and they have consumed all this food that they probably shouldn't have. But they are only eating rats, so swings and roundabouts.
Then they pin her against the wall, and there's a knife in her face, and then we cut.
Yeah, some guy pulls a knife on her, and because she says, "Oh, she's got money. I work in a bank. I can give you money." And Cayman says, "That's what the last one said," and then turns around and walks out the door. I was like, "Oh, that's really ominous," because now you think she's probably done this to Monday as well. Cut away, and the others are in a blind panic because now they're 2 men down from their little team.
Sure.
And then they panic even more because they look on the security cameras, and there's some cab agents outside the building.
This is like the SWAT team, though, isn't it? It's not the suits. It's a full-on assault team.
Yeah. And this is where we lose our doorman. Because they break into the apartment complex and instantly blow Eddie's brains out. Put bullets straight through his head. And
it's quite gory in parts, this movie, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. There was parts of this movie that were really gory. So they head upstairs to the apartment that these girls live in, and it's got a eye retina scan on the door.
Yeah.
So they can't get in. But unfortunately, they can get in because they have an eye. And they've got this like baggie with an eye in it, and they pull this eye out and scan it, and it opens the door, and they get into the apartment. All of the guys are hiding in the wall. All the girls are hiding in this security room in the wall, except for Thursday. She's gone for the gun. Thursday's like the badass one, isn't she?
She is, yeah.
So she's gone for the gun that's hidden in the floor, and the others are all hiding in the wall. But the SWAT agents or the security agents know about this secret room somehow, because they open it up and lead all the girls out into the daylight, into the room. And then all over in here is an incredible fight scene kicks off.
It was good. It was good. So Thursday and Wednesday's like the fitness one.
Yeah.
They are kicking ass, aren't they?
It's incredible. It's so good. Some of the fights and deaths in this are brilliant.
Well, one of the agents just get hit with an iron, and it just like, we in Home Alone all of a sudden?
One trips over a fridge and lands on his knife. It's crazy. It's really, really good. It's like there's women flying all over the rooms, being smashed through mirrors and stuff. And
it's a really well choreographed action scene.
And it must have been so difficult to film because you've got to remember all the way through this film. You've got to remember that all 7 of these women are the same woman. So when they're tag teaming against guys and stuff, that's being filmed twice. It's really clever. I'm so impressed by the filmmaking in this. This fight scene ends with all of these secret agents dead.
Yes,
they're all dead. Unfortunately, though, so is Sunday. Well, she's not.
Yeah, Sunday is badly wounded, I think.
Yeah, she's not quite dead at this point. Thursday's like holding her and she's dying in Thursday's arms. And she says to her, look, you're the religious... Because she's Sunday, she's got to be the religious one, surely. Sunday's final words in this film are, I don't know what I believe and I don't know who I am. Yeah. And then she dies. And I was like, this is really starting to affect me now. This is a great film.
It's quite sad, yeah.
So far, I'm all in on this. Like, properly all in on it. We briefly cut back to the cab HQ where we meet Nicolette again. She's kind of having some doubts in her program at this point. She's revealing to the guy, I'm not sure what we're doing here is the right thing. But also then
she's only 30 years
in. Yeah, she's 30 years into it. But then she says, we can't let news of the Setman sisters get out because it would ruin my reputation. We cannot have...
And she says to her lead henchman, do not underestimate them.
Yeah, because she's like, these girls have lived for 30 years literally under our noses, and they've grown to adulthood, and we can't have that. We can't have that getting out. That would undermine our whole system that we've got built up here. And then she says to him, also, this guy's an issue, and she shows him a picture of Jerry, the colleague, because obviously he does know something. He said he knew something, so she wants him taken out as well.
We cut back to the flat, and they're looking at the eye.
Oh yeah.
And they're pretty sure it's Tuesdays.
Yeah, they're pretty sure. They come to the conclusion that it's Tuesday's eye. And now they're in a quandary because I think one of them says, we can't stay here, but also we can't leave here. we're in this like no-win situation. We don't know what to do. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday's turn to go out. It's Wednesday. So she's going out, but she's not getting all dressed up as Karen. She's going undercover in a hoodie.
Hoodie and, all in black.
They wanted to go and see Jerry. Because
so she's not going to work.
Yeah, she's not going to work. So she's going to...
They're now deviating from the usual routine.
Yeah, they're leaving their plans behind, and it's really strange. For them, anyway, it's really strange. She gets to...
So yeah, she goes to Jerry's apartment, who is the colleague who was her rival for promotion.
Yeah, and it turns out that he's blackmailing her in some way.
Yeah, he's got knowledge of a deal she's done,
but she's got no idea about what's going on because. This deal that he's done is obviously been done with one of the other sisters.
Yeah, so, by
Monday. So she's acting like she's playing dumb, but is actually being dumb because she doesn't know this answer. And he's basically saying, look, if you pass on this promotion, don't take it. I will keep your secret. And Wednesday thinks that the secret is that he knows about their situation, but it turns out he doesn't know their situation. He knows of a deal that they've pulled with Nicolette.
He says, I know that you've signed the papers with her.
Yeah, So he knows that there's a contract being signed between Nicolette and Karen Setman, this one singular person. But we
for a lot of
we don't know what's happened, what the contract's for. We don't find that out at this point. But none of the girls that we know that are currently with us know anything about this, because she's got the earpiece in as well. She's talking. Everybody's really confused by what's going on. And then it gets more confusing because suddenly Jerry gets shot in the head.
This was brilliant.
It really was.
Because he's trying to be all cool, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he lifts a carton of milk up to take a swig.
Yeah.
And he gets sniped through the carton of milk into his chin. So he's just covered in this white and red mix.
Bloody milk.
Yeah. And it's just... It's a good shot, and it was a good shot.
It was a great shot, well shot. The sniper also reveals that, look, this woman's in here. This one, we've only come to kill this bloke, but this bird that we're all looking for is in here as well. So he keeps shooting. He misses her every time, because obviously. But she's trapped, and there's a lot of agents coming in. There's thousands of these guys. It looks like thousands of them anyway. So she hides in the bathroom.
My nitpick here would be it takes them a long time to get to her.
It really does.
Like, just a convenient amount of time for her to look around the whole flat and decide where she's going to hide.
Yeah, it does. But it was quite a high up apartment, I suppose, if they're using the stairs.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So she goes and hides in the bathroom. She's looking around to see if there's anything in there that can help her. She hides in the shower. And one guy comes into the shower and she kills him with a shower hose. Yeah. And then she...
Again, conveniently came in on his own.
He did come in on his own with his gun. She strangles him with his shower hose and then spins him around and smacks his head through the toilet. And it looked incredible again. It was a really good little, really self-confined fight scene with the two people in this tiny room.
The fight scenes were very good in this movie.
They really were. All of the action scenes in this film were really good. Unfortunately, she's now got his gun, but she can't use it because it's linked to his fingerprints.
Yeah.
So what does she do, Nick? I thought this was genius.
Really inventive.
It really was.
Yeah. I agree. She finds a razor blade because she's in the bathroom, and she chops the end of his finger off.
Yeah.
And puts it on her nub.
Yeah, she tapes it to her own nub. Yeah. So she can now use his gun.
Because remember, she's missing the end of her finger, and she's then sat opposite the door of this bathroom when the other three mercenaries sort of knock the door, smash through the door. She just lets them have it with the machine gun.
Yeah, and it's incredible. It's such a great scene. It's like it pays off that losing the finger earlier. That's the only reason they did that. Is to pay off for this scene, but it really worked. It really, really worked.
Wednesday sends the download of the contract back to her sisters. Yep. And then they tell her, well, your only way out is to jump out this window. Yeah. And there's a refuse collection below, a skip.
Dumpster,
yeah.
Which will break your fall.
So that should break your fall. So she goes for it. And then just there's a thud. Yeah. And Friday says, oh, shit, they emptied it this morning.
She lands in this empty dumpster from like the third story. It's really
Wednesday does very well to walk away from
She really does. It was very much action movie licensing at that point.
Yeah.
And then we start a foot chase, and it goes on for quite a while. She's being chased through the city by some soldiers.
Yeah, they're giving her directions.
She goes through this crowd of like, I don't want to say homeless people, but like underprivileged homeless people, I guess.
Yeah.
And they start pelting the soldiers with stuff, and she eventually loses them. But meanwhile, somebody is at the door of the apartment where the guys live. So in the apartment now is only Thursday and Friday, because everybody else is either Wednesday's out being chased through dumpsters, and Monday and Tuesday have gone missing. Sunday's dead. Oh, Saturday's there as well, isn't she, at this point? So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are in this apartment. And there's a cab agent knocking on the door.
It's flirty Adrian.
It's Adrian.
Unfortunately, for the ladies who are still in the flat, they've never seen this.
None of them know who he is. They've got no clue who he is. So they send Saturday out. So Thursday and Friday go and hide in the secret room. Saturday's the flirty one, so they send her out. And he's obviously talking to her like he knows her, because he thinks that he's in love with this girl. And she's never met him. So he grabs her around the throat as if he's about to do some kinky sex games with her. She really panics And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were into that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So they've obviously got more of a relationship than we were led to believe.
Yes, definitely. It certainly seems that way. So she panics and makes her excuses if she's going to the bathroom. And she goes to confer with the other two. She goes and hides. And this is where she reveals that she's maybe not all she says she is. She is the flirty one, but she's never been with a man. But it must be really difficult for them to be with a man when they have to go and talk about their
strict timetable.
Talk about your whole day at the end of the day. But they decide between the three of them, they're like, we've clearly been seeing one of us. We don't know which one. But Friday says to Saturday, if you can get close enough to his bracelet, we can pair your bracelet with his bracelet, and then that will get us into the system, the CAB system, and we'll be able to
get into the bureau's service.
Yeah, we can hack the system from there.
And also, you can get some information out of this guy and find out what Monday was up to.
Yeah, or whoever. They don't know who it was at this point, but it was Monday.
Yeah.
So Saturday leaves with Adrian. They go back to his flat for a bit. So now we've just got Thursday and Friday left in the flat. And then they suddenly remember that they were trying to talk to Wednesday about how to escape from the situation she was in.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, thanks, guys. Just leave me here in the middle of nowhere. But she's still trying to escape. This scene's incredible. This is so good. So she ends up on a rooftop. And there's a huge gap between these two rooftops. It's actually the poster for the film is based on this scene. Thursday and Friday are like, you can make that. You're the fit one out of all of us. If you run and jump.
Yeah, you've been training for
this.
If
you run and jump, you can get over that to that other building. So she's like, yeah, fair enough, I probably can. So she goes for a run up. She makes the leap. And then I didn't catch the CAB agent's, the main CAB guy.
I think it was Joe.
I think it was Joe. So just as she's in midair, he pops out of the door on the other building, what she's about to land on, and just shoots her in the chest. In midair.
Midair. That's it.
So she manages to save herself. She clings onto the roof. And then he doesn't say anything. He just walks up to her and shoots her again. And I'm like, that never happens in films. Like,
yes,
it was so brutal because normally they'd have this big talk about what's going on. But he doesn't. He just shoots her in the head and she falls off this building. And that's the end of Wednesday.
Just does his job.
Yeah, he just does his job and kills her. It was amazing. It was such a good scene, I thought. I really enjoyed that scene. So that's the end of Wednesday. She's no more. So these girls are dropping like flies at this point. Meanwhile, Saturday is now at Adrian's apartment. They're having a bit of a kiss. Friday, in the meantime, is deciphering this contract that they found in Jerry's apartment.
Yes.
So turns out it's a transfer of millions of dollars into Nicolette's account from the bank, but it isn't signed by Karen Setman. There's a place for her to sign it, but so far it has not been signed. Saturday and Adrian start doing the naughty a little bit. And she gets her hand close enough to his to be able to sync his bracelet to hers.
There's lots of photos around his flat.
Yes.
Of him with Monday.
Yes. So she's been sneaking out somehow because we know these girls spend all night together. So we don't know how this time's happened, but they've had time together. And then we cut to Thursday. The word Thursday comes up on the screen. We're going through the week quite quickly. Now, because they've paired up this bracelet, they have now got access to all of the other cameras at the CAB HQ.
Just because of technology.
Yes, because of technology. They've managed to hack the system via Adrian's bracelet.
They can get any info they want now.
And they're looking through the cameras and they settle upon a prison cell, and they see one of their sisters and they think, oh, look, that's Monday. That's what's happened to Monday.
Yeah, she's alive.
That's what's happened to Monday. She's alive. So they're quite happy that another one of them is alive because they'd pretty much written her off, I think. Saturday wakes up with Adrian. He lets slip that he's been seeing Monday. So this is where they find out that it's Monday that he's been sleeping with. Because he's like, I want to see you every day, not just Mondays.
Yeah. He then conveniently reveals that there's a big event happening at the Bureau.
Yes.
Because Cayman is launching her campaign for Parliament.
Yes, she's standing for Parliament. So, and then he leaves. He goes off to work or whoever and leaves her in his flat. So she calls the other guys and explains to them what she's just found, and she's talking to them. And
yeah, she's on she's like FaceTime.
Yeah, like a video call. And some agents come in behind her, some CAB agents have tracked her somehow, and they shoot her in the head as well.
Yeah.
We've lost another one. So currently, as it stands, Monday is in prison. Tuesday is potentially in prison, but she's got an eye out, so she might not be in a good way. Wednesday's dead.
Yes. Thursday
and Friday are in the apartment. Saturday's dead, and Sunday's dead.
Correct.
So I told you I was keeping track of it. I'm really proud of myself for keeping track.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Just as Saturday gets shot in the head, some smoke bombs and smoke grenades get thrown into the flat where Thursday and Friday are.
Yeah, it's a proper assault.
Yeah, they're proper. Everybody knows what's going on now. So Thursday and Friday go on the run. They escape down the fire escape, and Thursday gets onto the ground to escape, and Friday pulls the ladder back up.
She does. She
goes back in. Thursday is screaming after her to come back, but she's like, "We need to sort out our shit in there because if they find our shit, then we're in trouble."
And Friday's like the techie one, isn't she?
So she goes back in. She puts loads of metal in the microwave, which is a strange sentence to say, but she does. And then she
pulls the gas cooker away.
Disconnects the gas pipe from the gas cooker. And then she syncs all of their data to Thursday's bracelet. So Thursday's got access to everything. And then the flat blows up. So Joe's outside with some other agents. And does he shoot the door? I think he shoots the door to open the door. And then the microwave timer goes down. There's a huge bang. The gas ignites and the whole thing blows up. Including Joe and all the agents. But although he does come back with barely a scratch on him after this.
I think he's a bit blooded, but he's done quite well considering. Yeah.
So Thursday witnesses this from the ground. She's in fits of tears because she's like lost another one of her sisters. And there's a really, really nice shot of her just lying on the ground crying. And then loads of ash starts raining down on her. And it's like black and white and orange. And it's a really nice shot, I thought. Yeah,
it was well done. There was a lot of nice cinematography in this movie. Yeah. The colours later on as well, even just in terms of the costumes. Yeah. I just thought it was. There's a lot of work that's gone into framing some of this stuff.
100%, there definitely is. Adrian witnesses this explosion, and then so he runs because he knows this is where his girlfriend lives, as far as he knows. So he runs into the building. He sees Friday's body being dragged out, and he thinks that's his girlfriend because obviously, as far as he knows, it's all one person. So he freaks out, goes back into his van, starts crying, and then Thursday attacks him from behind in his van. And the penny drops for him quite quickly. He figures out what's going on. He's like, "Oh, you're a sibling." But I know what's going on now. So she explains to him, she's like, "Yeah, there's 7 of us. You fell in love with Monday, as she's known, and she's potentially still alive. As far as we know, she's still alive. Will you help us?
Sure.
Will you help me now? Try and sort this out." And he agrees. He's like, "Yeah, of course I will. I'll help you." We see a body bag being wheeled into the CAB HQ.
He's
wheeling it in, and Thursday is inside it.
It's really convenient that there's a window on the body bag so you can see the face of the person inside.
So we saw Friday being pulled out of the body bag, but it's Thursday that's being wheeled in. And he takes her into this like cryo sleep chamber because that's where they're supposed to be going. But they're second in the queue because there's a little girl who's about to be put into cryo sleep because she's obviously a sibling.
Yeah, you got to take your ticket and wait your turn.
So this bit's incredible as well. This little girl's about to be put into cryo sleep, so they put her into this like stasis chamber. You've seen them in sci-fi films before.
Oh yeah,
hundreds of times. And there's a kindly nurse there who injects her with some sedative and tells her that everything's going to be okay.
The girl says, "Is this going to hurt?" And the nurse says, "No, you won't feel a thing.
You'll find you'll just wake up in a few years' time, whenever the world needs you again." So the cryo chamber closes, it fills up with gas, and then it explodes.
Yeah, but it's an incinerator.
It's an incinerator. So these siblings who the world are being told are being put into cryosleep are not being put into cryosleep. They're being incinerated alive.
Yes.
And this is Nicolette Cayman's world. This is the thing that she's created. Thursday witnesses this because she's basically standing up in a body bag, waiting her turn to go in this machine. So there's another awesome fight scene.
Yeah, so she gets
out of the body bag.
She manages to sort of shove the doctor into the incinerator and injects the orderly, doesn't she, with the sedative.
But she turns the incinerator on, and this doctor gets burned alive while screaming at the top of her lungs before this happens because she knows what's coming. And it's horrible. And you can see her being burned alive and she's screaming and thrashing around in this booth. And it's like, whoa, that's like hardcore, man. It's basic, and this is where it's revealed it's all a lie. Nicolette Cayman is killing all these people, All of these siblings, millions of people, are supposed to have been put into cryosleep.
So at this point, Adrian and Thursday seem to have pretty much the run of this facility. Because, again, it takes a hell of a long time for any agents to catch up.
Adrian takes a couple out, doesn't he? But then, you're right, nothing else comes of it.
They find the cell location for Monday, so that's where they head next.
So they find out where she's being held. They head over to her cell, manage to get inside it because Adrian's got his bracelet, he's got free access to everything. And when they get in, it's not Monday, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, because she's missing an eye.
The image we saw on this security camera was her like in a fetal position up against the wall, so you couldn't see that she was got an eye out. But this is Tuesday, so we still don't know what happened to Monday. And at this point, Thursday says to Tuesday, "What happened to Monday?"
That's the name of the film.
It is, yeah. Adrian is freaking out because he thought he was about to meet the love of his life again, and it isn't her, it's Tuesday. But we now find out what happened to Monday, because this is where we get our plot twist. Did you see the plot twist, Tom?
She's alive and well.
Did you see the plot twist coming?
No.
I don't think I did either.
But I think I wasn't really trying to guess. I was just along for the ride, to be honest.
Same. It took me by surprise, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" So basically, Monday has sold them all out.
Yeah.
We cut to Nicolette's office, and Nicolette is in her office, and Monday comes from behind a wall. It's like
she's here to sign
big reveal, and she's here to sign this contract but she's basically funding Nicolette's presidential run, isn't she, or parliament run? Yeah. This is the big twist. That Monday's the bad guy in this film.
She signs the contract, and Cayman says, "How does it feel to be the only Karen Setman?"
Yeah. Now you can see there's doubt in her eyes. She's not sure she's done the right thing.
She's doing it all the same.
Thursday and Tuesday are swapping clothes in the room. So Thursday's basically dressing up as Karen Setman now, because Tuesday is still dressed as Karen Setman in the cell.
From when she was abducted.
And Tuesday and Adrian, I told you it was going to get confusing with all these different day names. Tuesday and Adrian go and break into the server room in the
because
building.
Their plan is to upload the footage of the incineration.
Yes, because Cayman's about to do
a political event.
Cayman's about to do a big speech to launch a political career. But Joe and his goons are not far behind, so they also get into the server room at the same time. So we're going to see another fight in a minute. We're convinced of it.
Sure. Thursday
goes to the bathroom, and Monday walks in, and we get a showdown between the two of them. And Monday's like, she tries to explain what happened. She's like, everything changed when I fell in love. And she says, I made a deal with Cayman and I lost control of it. Things got out of control. I didn't mean for any of it to happen.
There is an absolutely sick burn.
Yeah, I've written that down as well. Do you want to say it?
I do, yeah. Where Monday says, I'm the oldest, I was the first. Yeah. The rest of you are all just afterbirth.
Harsh.
Yeah.
It's really harsh. And that's
definitely brutal.
That's what kicks off the fight between the two of them.
Yeah. So you've now got like 2 fight scenes intercut.
Yeah, so Adrian's taking out people in the server room while Tuesday's trying to upload the footage. And Thursday and Monday are fighting each other, which is an incredible piece of filmmaking. I thought it was amazing. It just looked incredible how they were fighting each other.
It looked seamless.
It really did. It really, really did. And it's a really good fight as well. They're fighting for a bathroom. So they get smashed into mirrors, through sinks. There's water spraying everywhere. In between all of this action that's going on, Cayman's now also starting her speech. So she's in front of a big crowd of people. And then there's a really nice scene where there's a gunshot and it goes off in both scenes at the same time. So Adrian fires a gun, and there's also somewhere between Thursday and Monday lying on top of each other with the gun between them. And one of them gets shot, but at this point we don't know which one. And somebody gets shot in Adrian's room at the same time, and it's really clever. But one of the Karen Sedmans walks away.
Yes.
Tuesday, Cayman's now doing her speech. Tuesday manages to change the video file that's going on behind her, and it is footage of, like Nick said earlier, it's the girl being burnt alive in the cryosleep chamber, which causes Cayman to faint. She's like,
I didn't like that.
It did feel a bit but a whole world has just fallen apart in front of her eyes. I mean, she fainted and then instantly got back up again. And
yeah, it was an odd choice. I think.
It was. It was a bit overacting, wasn't it? But and all she keeps saying to the crowd that are now baying for her blood is, They didn't suffer. Nobody suffered. They didn't suffer. That's all she keeps saying.
Yeah, I was doing it for the whole planet.
And then she spots Karen Setman in the audience. And she runs over to her and tries to strangle her.
I think she realises it's not
the same person.
Monday.
It's Thursday.
Because I think I think she might have a bit of blood on her, and she kind of realises what's happening.
Thursday completely no sells the strangling as well. She just stands there as if nothing's happening to her.
And she pulls her wig off, doesn't she?
Yeah,
then?
she pulls her wig off. And then there's a few screams goes on, and Monday comes out. And I think this is the first time...
Stumbles out.
Yeah, she's been shot. And I think this is the first time we've seen two girls at the same time in public in the whole film.
Yes.
And it's really like, oh, wow, this is happening now. She comes out and she pulls the gun. She's got this gun and she holds it up. But before she can fire it, she gets shot herself. So Joe, the CAB guy, shoots her. And then Adrian shoots him at the same time. So there's gunshots going off.
He's immediately shot.
And then we cut back to them all being kids. And it's the day that their fingers got cut off. But it's nighttime. They're all asleep in bed. And you can hear their granddad crying in the front room. It's all got a bit on top of him. And it's Monday that comes out and comforts him. And he basically says, look, I did this for you. There was no other choice.
Yeah, did it for all of you. Yeah.
Exactly. And then we cut back from Monday's face, watching her granddad cry, to Monday's face as she's lying on this ground, dying. And Thursday's there with her hand. She grabs her hand and she's like comforting her dying sister again. And Monday says while she's lying on the floor, don't let them take them. And then puts...
Yeah, and then she puts her hands on her belly for the second week in a row.
Yeah.
We've had this imagery.
It is, you're right. And then Adrian comes stumbling over. He holds her as she dies in his arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's harsh. And that's basically the end of the film. There's a bit more to it because it's like I'd call this an epilogue.
I think that would be fair to say.
And it starts off with a bottom of the stream trope. It's a news report.
Of course it does.
It starts off with a news report. And basically what the news report is saying is that the CAB Act, the Child Allocation Bureau Act, has been disbanded.
It has been repealed and Cayman is going on trial.
All held children have been released. So anybody that was in a holding station who hasn't already been incinerated have been released back to their family. And Nicolette Cayman is facing the death penalty.
Yes.
And
again, she's interviewed on the steps of the courthouse basically saying, I'd do it again if I had the choice. You're going to regret this because the world's going to end.
I've written down what she says, and because it was quite a nice line. She says, my regret is that your children will never know the world we could have built together. That hope is now gone forever. So basically what she's saying is, I did the wrong thing, but I did it for the right reasons because this earth is now not going to survive. There's just no possible way that the earth can sustain what you're putting it through. Tuesday, Thursday, and Adrian, our remaining characters who are still alive in this film, are all together in a hospital. And this echoes the beginning of this film because they're in like a maternity ward.
They are.
And they're looking through a window at...
Tuesday's got a new eye, so she's looking at it.
Yeah,
really
she
well.
has somehow got a new eye. Monday's twins are being held in some sort of like birthing pod.
It's like when Luke Skywalker's in that tank in The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes. And
they're floating in that.
So they're waiting to be born, basically. They've been rescued from their pregnant... She couldn't have been that pregnant. But no. There's obviously ways to keep unborns alive after the parents die, and that's what's happening. And Tuesday says, by the way, Adrian, I'm now called Terry, which is a bit strange. And Thursday's like, well, yeah, I'm just going to keep the name Karen. I'm just going to be Karen. And then the camera pulls back, and there were hundreds of babies.
It's like the Matrix.
There's loads of them in this
all in their
birthing
pots.
room. And then the film ends. That was a lot. What did you think, Nick?
I think you did a really good job there.
But what did you think of the film?
I really enjoyed it.
I absolutely loved it.
I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought the action scenes were some of the best we've seen ever.
Agreed.
Really took me by surprise. I think Rapace is really strong in the roles. It's a good premise. There were things I wasn't as much of a fan of, but they're quite minor nitpicks, really. I thought Glen Close was wasted.
She didn't do a lot, did she? She wasn't in it a lot.
she was this figure in the background, and it kind of just makes you think they only had a certain amount of time with her, and they didn't have enough time to really craft that villain.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That would be my one negative to the film, that they could have done a lot more with that character.
She's good when she's in it, but
she's not
like I say, it just feels like we've got her for 3 days. This is the best we can do.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it was. But this film is completely stolen by Noomi Rapace. She's is incredible in this. In every single one of those roles, she plays 7 different characters, all completely different, wonderfully, all of them.
And I think some might say there's maybe not enough differentiation, but I think, again, we're dealing with a film that's 2 hours long, and there's only so much time you can contribute and propel the story forward. I'm prepared to let it go that a couple of them are a bit thin, characterization-wise.
That's fair.
Because I just don't see the way around it.
Yeah, you're not going to get fully rounded characters when you've got 7 characters all played by the same person.
No.
But it didn't need it. Thursday was the main character, and she was amazing. And then the rest of them were like almost like side characters, weren't they? But it really worked, and how they all got picked off. Wednesday's death on that rooftop was amazing.
I thought it was fantastic. Yeah.
I really,
that
really,
would
really
definitely be a Botska potential.
Yeah, definitely.
That one. A memorable death for sure.
Definitely. I can't say enough good things about this film. Honestly, I said at the beginning, just go and watch this film. I would even recommend this to my parents. I reckon my mum and dad would get something out of this.
It's a really fun action thriller, and it just zooms by as well.
It really does. It's like, sometimes when I see one of these films is going to be 2 hours long, I'm like, that's a long time to sit and write notes about a film. But I lost myself in this completely. Yeah. I was like all in on it. I thought it was brilliant. Absolutely.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Same. What was the best bit?
I think it was the first fight scene in the apartment.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would have said. It's either that or just Noomi Rapace's performance all the way through.
Yeah,
but
it's not often we get treated to like a properly well choreographed, well done fight scene.
No,
because nothing we watch has got the budget or the skill to pull that off. So it was a really pleasant surprise. Very, very much so.
Also, this, I would probably go as far as to say, as directing wise, this might be the best directed film we've ever seen.
It's up there.
It's right up there.
Because there is so much going on, and there's a lot technically to this.
Yeah, every scene must have been refilmed 7 times. Especially when they're all sitting together around the table. You've got to film that 7 times.
It'd be a big storyboard, wouldn't it?
It would. It must have been so complex. And to do it all in 94 days with that performance and that amount of different action scenes and really good action scenes and a great story to boot, I would say this is the best directed film we've seen on this show, I reckon. It'd be hard push to be beaten.
I mean, you're not one for hyperbole, obviously, but I'd have to think of a few more, but it'd be in the conversation.
It's definitely in the conversation, if not. What would you change about it?
I can see why it wasn't done. I wouldn't be against this having another half an hour and getting a bit more character work in there.
I agree. I would probably say the same thing.
And shoot for the moon and go for an epic.
We never find out what happened to Willem Defoe. He's in there as a kid, but we never find out why he's not there as an adult. Obviously, he would have been very old, but yeah. I would like to see at least an explanation of what happened to him. And
and what was he doing? Maybe some.
Yeah, why was he
on a day-to-day basis? What was he doing when they were all kids? Yeah,
and why was he doing what he was doing? And like you said earlier, a bit more Glen Close would have been great as well. Just develop that character a little bit more.
A stronger villain would have really put this over the top. Yeah.
I think casting-wise, I think she was great for it. I just think maybe give her a bit more to.
It's just a thin character, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But like you say, you would have had to make this film half an hour longer, and that's never going to happen. But I would have allowed it. We would never have done it if it was 2 hours, 2.5 hours long. It would never have made it onto their long list. But
I think if Netflix is making this now in 2021, they're saying make whatever you want.
Yeah, probably.
And you might get that, but we're talking 4 or 5 years ago. So.
Yeah, for a Netflix original, this is a really good film.
Yeah,
considering it's a Netflix original, this is right up there. Right up there. Do you want to talk stream table?
Yeah, I think it's the best thing we've seen this early season.
Agreed. It's number one by a long way. By a long way.
That was easy.
It was. If this can be beaten this season, I'll be a very happy boy, because we're going to have to see something really, really good to beat this.
I think it's better. I think this is fun. I think it will be tough to beat this for just this is fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see.
I
look forward to finding out.
So do I, because if we watch something better than this season, I'll be very happy. Do you want to pick next week's film?
Yes, please.
I've forgotten to tell you something.
Okay.
Ross Cook has played as Wildcard.
Oh, exciting.
I meant to tell you earlier in the week and I've completely didn't. So there's a surprise for everybody. So we don't need to run the randomizer this week because, as you know, if you're a long-time listener to the show, you will know that me, Nick, and all of our Patreons get a wildcard. So they can stop Robin being spun for the week and pick the next film that we watch. And Ross has decided to play his. Ross, if you don't know him, is an amazing artist who does all of our artwork. I'm
really excited.
I'm just trying to find the name of the film that he picked, so bear with me 1 second.
No pressure, Ross.
Ross has picked a film called American Mary.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of American Mary?
I'm aware of its existence because I've seen it on our list, but I don't know anything about it.
Would you like to know something about it?
Yes, please.
American Mary is from 2012. It is an 18. It runs for 1 hour and 43 minutes and is described on IMDb as a drama horror.
Okay.
Would you like to hear the synopsis?
I'm intrigued.
The allure of easy money sends Mary Mason, a medical student, into the world of underground surgeries, which ends up leaving more marks on her than her so-called freakish clients.
I'm definitely intrigued. That's a good synopsis,
it is, isn't it?
Because it gives you a hint, but gives
nothing away whatsoever.
Because we read some synopses, and I'm like, well, that's the whole movie.
I'm not seeing anybody that we may well have heard of in it, but it does sound, like you say, it does sound really interesting. I'm quite excited to watch it. I've noticed it on the long list as well a few times, and it does look good. So I think Ross might have made a good pick here. Currently rated at 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb.
That's not bad either.
That's not bad for one of our films. So yeah, we'll go out and watch that, and in the meantime, you go out and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at BOTS_podcast is the name on all of those. If you want to check out our website, it is bottomofthestream.com. And if you want to drop us I've done this all in the wrong order. If you want to drop us an email, you can email us at bottomofthestream@gmail.com. And if you want to check out our website, check us out at bottomofthestream.com. On there, you will find every episode we've ever recorded. You will find all the stream table. I have updated it. I told you I was going to update it, and I've actually done it. So the website is fully up to date. So yeah, there's all 6 stream tables are on there now. There's also different Botsker awards on there, and you can even get some merch if you want to buy a Bottom of the Stream bum bag. Check us out on Patreon.
I like it.
Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/bottomofthestream. On there, you will find early access to episodes. You'll find bonus episodes. You will find a newsletter that Nick writes every month. And if you come in at the top level, you too can have a wild card, and you will be able to play like Ross just did and pick the film that we watch that particular week. And when you've done all of that, come join us on Discord. The Discord link will be in the bottom of the show notes.
Yeah, there's all sorts of chat that goes on in there, so do come and join us. If you have got a spare few minutes, please consider leaving us a review anywhere that you can review podcasts. That could be places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, Podbean, Pandora, anywhere you can, because it really helps our algorithm and helps put us in front of the eyes and ears of more people. Maybe, if you really wanted to help us out, you could write a review every single day for a week.
Yeah, why not? And then slowly tick them off one by one during the film.
Because it's like this film.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, do all that and then go out and watch American Mary. And we will come back next week. For Monday will be The Wave, and Thursday will be to the film show where we talk about American Mary.
Cheers.
Bye.